Welcome to the 65th episode of News Dump, brought to you by Summit Funding, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm Chronicle Associate Editor Aaron Van Tile, joined by a couple of relative newbies. We got a new lineup today. Been a big shake-up in the news management structure. Eric Schwartz out.
Gone.
For the week, maybe. He'll be back soon. So anyway, joining me this evening, we've got Chronicle Executive Editor Eric Rosane, Acting Executive Editor.
I don't know what my title is at the moment. Well, reporter. We'll just go with that, reporter.
We'll leave you as reporter.
Eric.
Yeah, we're just bumping the Erics up a rung. So
second time on the pod too.
Ooh.
You were you've been on. You've been here.
So I really am the newbie.
We do have a first timer here as well. Chad Taylor, Chronicle. Are you publisher or CEO? I can never remember.
Oh no, the CEO. That title is held by my wife. Publisher.
Chronicle publisher Chad Taylor is here. And Chad, it's great to have you on.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Absolutely.
I hope that lasts through the entirety of this podcast. And Chad, knowing you,
Probably not.
This is a podcast that usually runs 30, 40 minutes. I'm assuming with you here, it might be closer to 45, 50.
It could. My wife, she will come in here with the red card saying that your time is up.
Yeah,
Stop talking.
Potentially 2 hours, maybe. Who knows?
It could happen.
She warned me about that for tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. A few things before we get into the news segment of this podcast. It's Tuesday, September 28th. And a big night coming up tomorrow. It is the Best of Lewis County Awards at Dick's Brewing.
Absolutely.
This is the big reveal. It's been in the works for months. It's just a grand time revealing all of the awards. How many would it be? 50, 60, 70? There's a lot.
At least.
There's tons of awards. Tons of people coming in, getting their plaques, getting pats on the back. Probably not a ton of handshaking or making out like normal.
Some glares across the room.
A few upset glares. Do the one thing I can't remember. Do the winners know in advance they've won, or just that they've been nominated?
Just that they've been nominated, unless somebody let it slip, which could happen.
I can't believe you'd insinuate this is a leaky establishment.
We may have some leaks.
You might have also seen Nightcrawler going around potentially. That doesn't mean necessarily anything, but
it might be an indication.
He's been around. So
sometimes Nightcrawler's just there.
He gets around, that's for sure.
He does. All right, yeah. So that's tomorrow night at Dick's Brewing over in the Porta Centralia area. Social hour from 5 to 6 p.m. Drinks, of course, will be served. And then the awards start at 6 o'clock. Be there nice and early, rub some elbows, and grease the wheels a little bit, and have some fun.
Say hi to Chad.
Say hi to Chad, of
I
course.
will be there. The whole team's going to be there. We're going to have everybody there.
All right.
Except Eric.
Is that my invite? Oh, okay. That's
no. Not you, Eric. The other Eric.
Okay.
He's still working.
Yeah.
All right. And also, another big announcement of things coming up on Thursday night, the first of the live Chronicle debates. These are for political candidates coming up in the elections in November, I guess.
Yep,
that's when they usually are. The first in this series, we've got Kate McDougal and Terry Harris. They're both running for a Chehalis City Council spot. That's going to be live on Facebook and YouTube. What time does that get started?
I think it's going to begin at 5:30, and this is going to be one of the first of many new multimedia experiences we unveil throughout the rest of this year. We thought it's about time that folks have the opportunity to see candidates, answer some questions, and also have the ability to ask and maybe participate a little bit in the live forums.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of multimedia, have you got a virtual reality option set up yet?
Oh man, that's a good idea.
That's
some Oculus
soon.
Go.
Yes, you put on your Oculus and it's like you're right there in the debate.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good idea.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
We're gonna need somebody with
get some holograms in there too. Maybe.
Yeah.
We need some more technical expertise for that.
Hologram in Eric Schwartz to ask a few questions.
That would be awesome.
Great. And also reporter hiring. You're looking for somebody to fill in the newsroom to join the brilliant Eric Rosane.
I didn't actually think he was going to put it on the docket.
Well, you have to. You have to.
And this is, I believe, taking your old beat, Roseanne, right?
Yeah,
So filling the largest shoes, size 13 wides.
I tell
believe?
you what, covering the cities of Centralia and Chehalis, it's just been a full-time job. Oh, that and education. But yeah, we're hiring for a cities reporter, which is
Wow.
super exciting.
What do we look for when we're looking for a reporter, huh? What's
looking
the
at you,
special
Aaron.
talent?
You gotta
Aaron,
have
Aaron,
somebody
you probably know.
calm under pressure,
Yeah.
organized, just kind of, relentless. You got to be willing to work some pretty weird hours and go get a story. You got
That's
to be
the tough questions too.
you got to be literate and willing to be balanced and hear both sides of an issue and to not be satisfied with just cranking out a quick story and calling it a day.
Absolutely.
And I've seen Roseanne in here at all hours of the night, so I know he's one of those guys.
He definitely is. I'll be here 6, 7, 8 at night, and I'm like, why is Roseanne here? Is he covering sports?
The city council hours will make it seem like I'm here way more than I actually am.
So if you know somebody who is interested, or if you are interested, send an email to news@cronline.com. I think it's probably the best way.
Absolutely.
Maybe you could, stand outside Chad's house with a billboard saying, hire me or something. He's involved
That might freak Coralie out a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend that. But you could try.
Email is probably the best bet
Email,
then.
yeah, I think so.
All right, let's jump into news, guys.
Let's do it.
Our first item, Centralia woman and Laura Ingalls Wilder's biggest fan buys property near famous author's homestead. This is Carrie Adlin, Centralia woman, and I want to say the daughter of former longtime Chronicle columnist Gordon Adlin. He was a good writer.
You bet.
Calls herself Laura Ingalls Wilder's biggest fan. She has family from De Smet, South Dakota, where the Ingalls family had its homestead. She just bought some land out there, pretty close to where Laura Ingalls Wilder grew up. Sounds cool. My question to the two of you, what author or creative artist is so important to you that you would buy land near their homesteads? Or call yourself their biggest fan?
Oh my goodness.
Tough question right there.
It has to be Rowlings, right? JK, I mean, come on.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on.
Harry Potter, there you
Harry
go.
Potter.
Chad moving to Britain, donning a wizard cap,
Oh my gosh, I would.
riding a broomstick around.
Love those movies.
Yeah, I mean, reading this, I thought, well, this person's not really an artist per se, but, J.T. Wilcox, the House Minority Leader in the legislature, he's got some great property out near Hearts Lake that
Yes,
I
he
would
does.
love.
All right, that's good.
Chicken farms and everything.
He's an avid listener of the pod, too.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah. JT tells me all the time how much he loves listening to Aaron on the pod.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Was this written by Claudia? Who was this written by, this story?
Let's see. I'm not. This strikes me as an Isabel jam.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Isabel's
Yes,
a
this
great
is a-
reporter.
She's got
What a
a
wonderful
way with
addition.
words. She gives things heart.
Oh, my goodness. She does. You all do, really.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, all of you reporters do a great job.
I agree.
Let's see. Next item, we got a Stamper update. The story was "You need to come home now." Family hopeful in Stamper's COVID recovery. So Gary Stamper, one of our beloved county commissioners, has been on a ventilator in the ICU with severe COVID for, I think this is week 4. They said he's at a critical point. The hope is that doctors can stabilize the 67-year-old commissioner enough to switch him from a ventilator to a tracheostomy and ease him from sedation. Sounds like his numbers are headed in the right direction and showing signs that his lungs are recovering. That's according to his family. And in the story, they also shared some memories of Stamper, like how the animal lover reveled in his squirrel feeder. He refused to take out new kayaks after a bird nested underneath, or how he went to great lengths to avoid turning chipmunks into roadkill. Just good stuff to hear about Stamper. His daughter also said he's gotten softer with age. He's no longer the strict coach and principal she recalls giving tough speeches on the school bus, and he'd be proud of how the community is rallying behind him. And I met Stamper first back in, I think, 2006, when he was kind of that strict coach and school principal, and he was a little intimidating back then, coaching a team in the state finals and things like that.
He was.
He does strike me as a little softer now, and I'm glad to hear he's doing better.
The descriptions that people give of him when he was a coach and a teacher are completely the opposite way that I've ever had any interaction with him after he's been a teacher. Soft, nice guy. really feels like he cares about people. Bobby shared a story on Facebook about them driving down Highway 12, and it was a sunny day, and there was a whole bunch of cows out in a field, and he says, I bet those cows are just really enjoying this summer day. And that does not that's not like the stories that were told of Gary when he was in the high school and the principal and the kind of, he was a strict person. He reminded me of, or probably like a guy like John Green would have been out in Adna. Do you remember him?
Well, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
He was before my time, but I remember him being around. Yeah.
Yeah. He had a paddle in his office, and he wasn't afraid to use it.
I'm sure he never used it on you.
He did, and it hurt.
We know he did, yeah. That's another thing from kind of the reporting beat. It's been really interesting, really heartbreaking to kind of see the hole that his absence has kind of held, within the community and within, the Board of County Commissioners. I was at a Twin Transit meeting today, and Rebecca Stabler, Central Valley City Councilor, she gave an update on him, and they continued to wish him well. And so his absence is still, even what'd you say, 4 weeks in, has still been felt around the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a wonderful man, and I thought that story was great, and I'm glad that we were given the opportunity to put that in the paper. I know that, it's tough writing a story about somebody that's in the hospital because, family and medical things are private, and it was nice of them to share a little bit of that with us.
Yep.
Yeah, this was a Claudia Yaw story. Her last day was Friday. She's done a lot of good work, and this is a good story to go out on.
Yeah, I'm going to miss her reporting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I always got a little nervous when she was going to a meeting that was going to be controversial because I knew that she held no punches.
Yeah.
And, she would always offer both sides of the story, even if both sides weren't given there. She would offer the other side.
She would go looking for homework, research. She'd do her homework on things. Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. I know the elected officials are really going to miss her too.
Yeah.
So we're looking for another Claudia Yaw, unfortunately.
Our next news item, and I think this is an Eric Rosane joint. Former Emergency Management Deputy Director makes return. So Ross McDowell just burst through the doors of the courthouse like the Kool-Aid Man and shouted, "Heard you got an emergency here. Oh, yeah."
With the Superman cape.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's been in Mason County for the last 7 years, and according to the Rosane story, if you're in Ross McDowell's line of work, you wouldn't count time by days or years. McDowell says, "I measure time by disasters because I've seen so many," said the 60-year-old, walking around the courthouse and adding, "And I've aged 10 years just since I got back."
Yeah, that's kind of what happens when you live in a swamp, right?
Yes,
things flood.
We have no shortage of emergencies around here.
He's a great guy. I had the chance to work with him when he was here the first time, and he is always smiling. Mm-hmm. He's a super nice guy.
Super positive too. Mm-hmm. It's like right when we got into his office, Nightcrawler and we went down. I think we did this last week. He has this nice corner office in the basement, and he can,
I know how he feels.
Yeah,
kind of feels like this office.
Yeah. We walk in, and it's just right off the bat, it's just extremely engaging. He's, he seems to really know the area really well, and 30 plus years, about 30 years of law enforcement experience, and so he really knows the community, and he was a breath of knowledge and really great to talk with, and we got to see his Grateful Dead tattoo sleeve.
Tell me how that came up. Did he just, were you guys like, what's going on there? And he's like, I can't. Let me tell you about the 70s.
Is actually,
you remembered them?
I think he was more a product of the 80s and 90s, but he comes from, he strikes me as a guy who kind of comes from that era of, grunge, and also, he's from St. Louis, so he knows all about, jazz and blues, and he's used to be a DJ too. He told me for both weddings and also divorces. So sometimes he would have his clients on either side of the spectrum.
Which one of those would he classify as the emergency?
That's a good question. Well, obviously this is, part from his work as an emergency deputy director. But yeah, I can't remember how the tattoos came up, but I think Nightcrawler and I kind of asked him about it. He just rolled up his sleeves. I know he was wearing long sleeves that day, so yeah.
All right,
Wow.
sounds cool. Yeah, so Roseanne, you enjoyed Ross McDowell. Would you invite him to manage any emergencies in your life?
Depends on the emergency. A divorce, possibly.
I don't know. He's
DJ.
got the tattoos. He seems like he could lead a pretty good divorce party.
Yeah, maybe.
Wedding.
Yeah, or a wedding, yeah. Well, less of an emergency there, but I mean,
Could be a dance emergency.
dance emergency. There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
Come on.
Two different types of emergencies. Yeah, I'd have him. I'd have him there.
All right, great.
Great hire, Eric Martin again, and leading the county over there, doing some great things.
Yeah. Next one. This was a little interesting. I had to do some thinking on it to figure out what was going on. But Cooks Hill Child Care Center to close for 2 weeks after staff walkout. Last week, the Cooks Hill Daycare, which is managed by a church, I understand. Anyway,
Correct, yeah.
they fired their director, Jessica King, and half the staff quit. So parents showed up Tuesday, and some were turned away. And later that week, the church that runs the daycare announced it was closing it for 2 weeks to get new staff. And the Cooks Hill church leadership had minimal answers as to for an explanation. The only answer they got was that the staffing shortage was based on the vaccine mandate. However, one teacher said that's not the case since half our employees are vaccinated or have their exemptions, which I found odd. Exemptions, you're like a church daycare. Can you really throw out a religious exemption? It feels like an all or nothing thing at that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, they had a protest last week. They waited outside for 4.5 hours during the church board meeting, but the board members said they couldn't talk about it, and then they bailed. And they haven't really talked about it much since.
A real he said, she said story right here.
It is. And is there anything more frustrating than a church or school board or some organization firing someone and then just like not talking about it? Drives me nuts.
It's happened before, definitely.
I have covered situations like that in my day, but
annoying.
it always bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah, it bothers me too. You know what? Just man up and talk about what the heck happened.
Yeah,
If you feel like you should let somebody go and there's a public outcry and you don't want to talk about it, I don't know.
Yep.
Grow a pair. Let's go.
maybe you shouldn't have let him go.
Yeah,
If
I
you're
don't
not,
know.
if you can't stand behind your convictions in firing that person, then
I could also see an instance where maybe there's some legal kind of issues kind of within that, especially
Sure.
with discussing departures. But it's it definitely still begs the question. Exactly.
What happened?
Yeah, what happened? So
Do we know what happened? I mean, people protested outside of a church. People got fired, and that was all we kind of know.
kind of seems like it at this
Pretty
point.
much,
We got
yes.
dig into that right there.
The teachers and parents say they feel blindsided by the church administration, especially after learning that Cooks Hill has already hired a replacement director who will be introduced to the families soon. According to the Facebook post, I'm sure they will be greeted warmly.
Was the person hired before the other one was fired?
Boy, I don't know. It seems like a pretty quick turnaround.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows?
Seems like an inside job.
Anyway, yeah, Roseanne, your replacement will be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay. It's Claudia too.
It's Claudia in a hat.
Yeah.
They were
With a
guided by the
mustache.
divine spirit.
Yes.
I mean, how could you go against them, right? You're going against God, I guess, huh?
I don't know. I feel
What's
like-
what religion is it first?
Boy, I don't know. It doesn't
We'll need to
specify.
Google right there.
I feel like God
yeah.
was pretty forthcoming with his reasons for the most part, though.
Yeah, probably.
He made a big stink about it.
That's true.
You guys want to talk about Sean Swope?
Sure.
Oh boy. Sean.
Roseanne, this is
like Sean.
your beat going
This
forward
is now my beat. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I've only been to a couple meetings now, and yeah. This is my beat now.
Oh, tell me. So, what's the topic about Sean? About COVID or being out of the office? What's up?
COVID, Swope second on Lewis County Commission to contract COVID-19, plans his return to office. The subhead on this story was, unvaccinated commissioner said he took everything the CDC said not to take. I don't know if that's good general advice.
He got better though.
He did,
I mean,
That's true.
He's a man who stands by his convictions, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like somebody who doesn't waffle. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't want to take the shot, and I'm going to trust some other forms of I don't know what you call them, natural
Horse dewormer?
Hey, Trump said it was good. Come on. I'm just joking.
I like how he pointed out that about ivermectin that he wouldn't get it, that he didn't get it from a farm store. Like that's the mark. As somebody who has shopped at farm stores before, like I don't think that's the issue. Like if you're wearing barn boots, you're like, well, I didn't get them at the farm store. You're still wearing barn boots.
Well, is there any difference between ivermectin at the farm store or ivermectin at a doctor's office?
There must be some, at least with the dosage.
I mean, the size of the pill, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like if you have cramps and you get a salt lick, is that any different than the salt lick they give the horses at the farm store?
I don't know.
It's just a buying in bulk issue, probably.
Probably.
I think
probably the way you administer the pill, too, is probably a little different.
Well, I mean,
I think the jury's still out podcast, on it,
Chad.
I know. Well, hey, I think, to each their own. And, it whatever he did worked. Just like I don't criticize people that want or take the shot. I don't criticize people that don't want to take the shot. I do believe that personal responsibility should dictate what path you choose as an individual. But that's just me.
It's interesting that the third county commissioner, Dr. Lindsay Pollock, presumably has a healthy supply of ivermectin, being that deworming horses was her profession.
Hold on. Are you saying that is where he might have gotten his ivermectin?
I feel
is
like
that what we're talking about here. Did Lindsay Pollock deal drugs to Sean Swell? Is that what we're talking about here?
I just feel like if any of our three county commissioners had a strong opinion on ivermectin, she would have the most informed opinion.
Yeah.
It would be interesting to hear.
It would be interesting.
I did not know that about Pollock, so I guess I have some more background.
Veterinarian.
Yeah, veterinarian. Like if anybody knows about horse medicine,
maybe
she's
ask
literally
her.
the expert.
Right. Yeah.
There's got to be a sticky note on Sean's desk somewhere, just with like the notes that he took while talking to her.
Yes.
I love the sarcasm on this pod. It makes me feel good.
I'm glad you're enjoying
We're just
it.
kidding on that. We're kidding.
Are we?
No, she's really a horse doctor.
No,
I mean,
she
is. She's we're not messing with you.
No,
Yeah, no.
We're just feeding you bad information. So on your first interview with the commissioners, you're like, so horse doctor.
Yeah.
So I heard that you sell ivermectin.
You holding? All right. Next story. Washington State plastic bag ban goes into effect Friday. Stores will give you a paper bag or a reusable bag for 8 cents. Gentlemen, how is this going to affect your lives?
Not one bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a whole lot either, but I do use plastic, the single-use bags for garbage in my car. So, I mean, besides that, I guess I'll have to switch to paper.
I don't see it having a big effect. I'm a big just kind of carry the shit out in my hands anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I try to, but Parkinson's dictates how many bags I can carry sometimes.
well, what's your max? What are you looking at?
So 2 bags of ruby red grapefruit juice.
Okay.
And
maybe like a bag with some bread or chips in it. I can do that one hand.
But we all know Chad only shops at Costco.
Oh.
So he's really packing the...
If I'm at Costco, I'm getting one of those big old freight carts.
I love those so much.
Yeah,
this wouldn't affect Costco because they put all your shit in boxes anyway.
No, boxes are great.
Yeah,
I'd take the boxes.
I take boxes.
I do like the boxes. But no, if I'm grocery shopping, though, I'm a local man, especially, advertisers here. I spend my money who spend money with us. Shopping cart. Absolutely. That's where I buy my groceries for my day-to-day use.
I go for there for lunch sometimes, too.
Great food.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They got a good beer selection, too. I like their beer selection.
They do.
They've always got like some local stuff, And let's see, our last... Oh, I was also going to ask about the plastic bag ban. You guys scared? You worried? Scared?
So scared.
I feel like we've
terrified.
been going through a plastic... Maybe that's just because I've lived in so many different counties, in the state, but it feels like I've gone through a plastic bag ban everywhere I've gone.
Oh, this is government overreach.
The liberal agenda is following me somewhere.
Hold on. Maybe you're bringing it with you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
I should probably leave Lewis County.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Hey, leave your liberal ideas up where you came from, Roseanne. Come on.
Straight from Ellensburg. Good old Kittitas County.
Chad's over here. First they came for my straws, and I said nothing because I'm not a sucker. Then they came for my plastic bags, and I said nothing because I do not buy groceries.
What's next? The plastic spoons.
Oh, I don't buy them. I have them delivered. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Who doesn't these days?
Our last news item. 3 finalists for Port of Chehalis CEO announced. Chad, I'm assuming you probably know more about this than I.
Yeah.
But the 3 finalists, Jessica Carpenter from Texas, Lindsay Center from Chehalis, and Christopher Herman from Tenino. The board hopes to have their decision on a candidate made and negotiations finalized prior to the October 14th board meeting, with the candidate expected to start by December 1st. What kind of stuff goes into a hiring process like this, as somebody who has a history in municipal government?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Normally, a typical hiring process for state government is they hire an outside agency that specializes in finding people with the kind of experience it takes, public administration
Consulting
type
firm kind of
yeah.
thing. Mm-hmm.
And normally it's extremely expensive, but typically it works out pretty good. I mean, Jill Anderson from Chehalis, she was found there. Merlin McReynolds, the former city manager, JD before that in Centralia, and now Rob Hill. They all use professional firms to find employees. I mean, just like Ross McDowell, I'm sure he was probably picked up by their HR folks. But, I'm not 100% sure on the Port of Centralia. They got a candidate from Texas, so I'm sure they use an outside firm.
Yeah, I wrote this story. This is a Zane joint, by the way.
Of course.
Oh, give it to us.
Get into that.
Anyways, I'm almost 90% sure they didn't use a firm for this.
Good for them.
Yeah. They of course
big savings.
They put out all those avenues, but I think a large amount of it was just staff legwork at this point. But
do you think that's what dictated the candidate pool that they had?
Yeah. Well, they definitely they had a. I haven't looked at the candidates, but I mean, more than 24 candidates, which I think is probably pretty safe to say that's a pretty decent amount right there. And of course, you have Lindsay Center. She's probably, I guess she's the only local one out of the top.
Christopher Herman's close to Tenino. That's local.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's true. Actually, that's true. Christopher from Tenino, yeah. And Jessica Carpenter, she also did work with Island County, too, so she's definitely reasonable, I think, regional, so.
That's the lady from Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody has a Washington tie here, so they probably heard about it, through one avenue or another.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but the experience level of those candidates, right? You have 2 people that are currently there, and then one from Texas. Do any of them have any experience running a port?
I don't think, just based on some of the biographies that the Port of Chehalis gave us, it doesn't look like anybody has any direct experience leading a port. Although Christopher Herman, he's worked in a pretty big agricultural firm. I'm totally blanking.
He is currently the Senior Director of Trade and Transportation for the Washington Public Ports Association.
Yeah, so
definitely probably some helpful knowledge there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's fairly close.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then Jessica Carpenter, she's worked in Island. She's worked as essentially like planning. I believe like planning and development with Island County and in her city in Texas. So wide breadth of experience though, nonetheless. And of course, Lindsay Center, currently an employee at the Port of Chehalis. So
Local as well. All right.
Local.
All right. Well, I don't envy anybody who has to go through those processes. They're not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. Good story.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fun.
Chad, you were mentioning before the pod that you've been involved in some kind of home buying process, financing something.
Oh, I got a beef with you. Yeah. Keep going.
All right. Well, what are you trying to finance here? You home shopping? What are you doing?
You know what? Rates are low.
Rates are low. I've heard that.
You know what? I thought it would be a good time to put in a playground. Because I have 2 new grandkids, and
there you go.
I thought, heck, with this discount code that I've been hearing about, now is definitely the time to go look.
Oh, of course, you're talking about using promo code NewsDump and getting 50% off your first house.
Yeah.
From Summit Funding. Our friend Jason Gillespie. How did it work out?
So Gillespie is a phenomenal person. You, on the other hand, have been giving false information.
I can't believe you'd call me a liar over this. Oh, man. Of all things. I've lied about so many more important things than this.
I put in code NewsDump in every single search box they had available, and awful things came up, not a discount.
Uh-oh.
Were you using the number 5 for the S?
Oh, man. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Because sometimes you
Gotta
need to
double
throw a
try it.
number in there too.
That's true. That's true. So, Jason Gillespie. Jacek Gillespie. What a phenomenal process. I heard you guys talk about it. Honestly, I had never met Jacek. But I obviously heard about him on the podcast. And talk about an easy experience. My wife and I put together the paperwork that was necessary, which was extremely easy. We uploaded it to his website, and literally within 24 hours, he'd ordered an appraisal, and boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's such an easy process with that firm, Summit Funding.
Yeah. Also heard you got half a house too.
Oh, half a house. I know, it's great.
Half a playground.
I know. I can't wait. Hey, who doesn't want a playground at 45? Come on.
I'm personally am looking to finance a treehouse.
Yes.
I can hook you up with half a slide.
There we go.
So tell me more about Jacek. I mean, Summit Funding.
Summit Funding is the best. They're the home loan experts. They'll hook you up with everything you need to know, explain the process, easy to work with. He'll get back to you fast. Just
True.
give him a call.
That's been fact-checked true, too, by the way.
Truer than our faulty promo code, apparently. My apologies for longtime listeners who have been trying to buy houses.
We're going to fact-check everything that he says from now on.
You're going to be quite busy. You can call Jacek at 360-330-4037. That's his office line. You can send him a fax. This is a popular option for people these days.
It is.
360-205-4099. Fax him a picture of half a slide and ask him why he did that. Email him, Gillespie Team, GILLISPIE team at summitfunding.net. Stop by his office, 1616 South Gold Street in Centralia. And as always, we're happy to have Summit Funding sponsoring this fine, dumb podcast.
This dumb podcast really needs it. So thank you. Yeah. Thank you for allowing us to sit in the dungeon and talk about all the fun stuff that we get to do. Yeah. And thanks for giving us the fax number because, unlike newspapers, that's coming back.
Yeah, the fax machine, yeah.
That's coming back.
We're working on an option now where Chad will just fax you a copy of the newspaper. And
you want the newspaper faxed, we'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Like a bullet point, just a bullet point, just summary of all the stories. He'll do that.
Yeah. I'll actually do anything if you buy a newspaper.
Anything
if you buy a newspaper.
Speaking of discount codes you need to hold up your end of,
absolutely.
Chad just made a social contract there.
Boom.
Anyway, time for Tales from the Takes page, our exploration of the opinion section. Brian Mitke has a column called Over the Hill. It gets easier now, right? And he talks about having a midlife crisis by turning 45. And I don't know about you, Chad, but I stopped reading because I was prematurely terrified.
Terrified was an understatement.
And I believe you are around the age of 45?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mitke. Appreciate that terrifying column you wrote.
Did you? Yeah, were you?
Good Lord.
Were you shooketh?
A little bit. I still am.
It was a useful column, but I closed the laptop and I was like, I'm going to, you know what?
You went for a walk.
I was like, I'm going to go get in my convertible and drive extremely fast now.
Absolutely, because I'm not old. That's what I wanted to think after that. Oh, my goodness. Maybe I'll learn how to play the guitar after reading that, Brian. Come on. I'm going to learn something.
I got to expand my horizons. Eric Rosane, you are far from your midlife crisis. Have you had your quarter-life crisis yet?
Did I have that quarter-life crisis? I can't remember.
Well, you went into journalism. That's a pretty good quarter-life crisis.
That probably works, yeah. That probably fills the spaces right there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I don't feel old.
You don't look old, that's for sure. You look like a child.
I thought some of the gray hair in there was coming in. I thought I was starting to look like Pete Castor a little.
Look at that grin.
You do not look like Pete Castor.
Just a little bit.
Looks like a young Harold Ramis with that grin.
Okay.
Yeah, you look so good.
Yeah. Thanks, Chad.
So good.
Mitke also has an exclusive report that the book in the girl's lap in the statue outside the Chehalis Library has returned.
There we go.
Yes, it has.
Our municipal nightmare is over. Good.
Thank you to the Austin family. I think they were the ones responsible for that restoration of that really unique piece of art.
It is a very nice statue. And this column I liked quite a bit. Julie McDonald's commentary, questions and comments, prompt search for COVID-19 answers. She asked some local doctors and officials about some far-fetched COVID theories. Among her findings, 95% of people dying of COVID these days are unvaccinated. Hospitals actually do not get paid more if a patient dies of COVID, which should be like kind of self-evident. I don't think hospitals get paid if a patient dies. Like,
No. I don't think they do.
Yeah.
But that question was asked at a meeting I was at, and a medical doc, I think it was a administrator, confirmed that.
Yeah. I think these are a lot of questions that have just kind of been, answered by, it confirmed true or false either way, but have kind of been floating out there for a while. I really enjoyed this column too. Definitely a long read and a lot of sources, but well worth it if you're looking for answers.
well, I mean, if you want to read things and click links, maybe,
There you go.
newspapers aren't for you.
Well, you could do it online if you want.
Yeah.
You can
True.
definitely do it online. But there were so many sources, and that story was a long one, but it was good. It continued my, piqued my interest the entire way through. That's for sure.
It was good. She also had a good quote from Dr. Rab McElhaney out at the Mary's Corner Medical Center. He's a Toledo guy. He said, I recognize some believe these stats are all lies, but they're quite consistent with those published at the Oregon Health and Science University and across the country. Then again, I'm sure some believe there is a broader conspiracy involving Bill Gates, the federal government, all medical and pharmaceutical companies, and all but a few of the chosen ones who are going to expose the massive plot, which I thought was quite funny.
I think she bingoed that. That was like right off the list.
Dr. Rob
the
McElhaney
checks.
just swinging for the fences and touching them all. Good work.
Yeah, there is some truth to that, right? There is definitely some truth to those beliefs
Well,
that people have.
They didn't mention
Yeah.
microchips,
Right.
so-
I can feel the microchip progressing in my arm every day. I mean, I think it's
So
made it
high.
up my neck.
I must have just gotten the 4G one. So
Oh, no,
Wow.
my cell phone service has never been better. I put my cell phone to my head now, and it's like 5G all the way.
Speaking of that, this post was also flagged by Facebook, according to executive editor Eric Schwartz.
Of course it was. Fact check, not true, I guess. Zuckerberg didn't like it?
He's like, you didn't even mention the 5G. Get out
Wow.
of here.
Wow.
Let's see.
Thank you, Facebook, I guess.
Yeah.
One more thing on that stat, right? The people that are dying that are unvaccinated, 90% of them, right? Unvaccinated. How many of them are obese or other that? I always, and I'm not questioning that. I don't think that that's not true. I just think that there are other things that make people's risk factors a lot worse, like the
question.
obesity, diabetes, other things like that. I mean, one of the doctors put it very, very blunt at the meeting I was at, Dr. Floyd Smith. He said, don't be fat if you get COVID because you will probably die. That's what he said. And I mean, not very medically spoken.
right,
but,
yeah.
Chad, it sounds like you are advocating for
Ivermectin?
Hot Boy Winter.
Yeah, it sounds like
Winter, what is
sounds like
that?
Chad
Hot
just
boy
wants a
winter?
little more transparency.
Transparency
there,
is important.
Yeah.
I don't care what the answer is. I just want it to be transparent so that there's no question. But unfortunately, we can't get there with this.
Maybe
I guess.
someday. Yeah.
But Hot Boy Winter confirmed.
Chad is
Fact
clearly
check, true.
asking for Hot Boy Winter. He is hung
sounds
the
bad.
no fat chick
it's
sticker
good.
in the back of his car. I'm kidding.
Oh, don't go that far.
Okay, edit.
All right. It is time for our People's Champion of the Week. This week we have former Centralia College president Hank Kirk, who wrote a book about his life.
Yeah, I interviewed him. I think it was early last week. This was great. Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He is. Does he still live over in Chehalis, kind of up on the hill a little bit?
I believe so, yeah, because he tells me he goes to church and he runs a week over at the forgetting the name of the church, but I believe he's still local, yeah, and he still lives.
When I was in, I did running start in high school and was at Centralia College and helped out with some fancy dinner, something at his house, parking cars or something. And yeah, what a cool house. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Big fan.
He took a trip. Him and his wife Jenny took a trip when he was the president of the college. I think it was to Rwanda or
Malawi.
Malawi, thank you, Malawi.
It's
it was
in
a
the
Rotary
story.
trip.
He started the university there.
He did, and I remember the Rotary Club, the Rotary Foundations, donating money to help him start that, and that's an amazing story. And he's he's definitely one of those people that gives back more than he's ever taken.
Him and his wife were so great to talk with.
So cool.
We went upstairs and we opened up the windows and we were kind of social distance and it was just great to kind of see the expressions on him and his wife's face, and they were telling me all about this. And the book is a very detailed read about his life, and but yeah, I'll let you kind of get into more of that.
Just from your story, the book goes through Hank Kirk's heritage, how his family got to Pennsylvania, his rigorous pursuit and rise to becoming a college president, his personal life and losses, his retirement, and efforts to build the new University of Livingstonia in Malawi, which has been an ongoing project since, I want to say, 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
Around there,
He's done a lot of cool stuff. Nice guy. Good dude. A worthy People's Champion of the Week, which I'm sure is the most prestigious honor that has ever been bestowed upon him. I do not have a Sirens Banger of the Week, unfortunately. Eric Schwartz is not here to give us an Eric Schwartz Burn of the Week.
Oh.
So
He's
we
going to
have...
listen to this and the whole time he's going to be like,
I had a good one.
I had some takes. We will jump into the Facebook Cronline comments of the week, and Chad, buckle up. A few of these.
I see him.
One of them we'll start with on the Sean Swope COVID story. What more proof do you need? This man is a dangerous, dishonest dimwit. I love the alliteration there. Than his own words. You can cure COVID-19. You can't fix stupid. And then one last comment. Another propaganda piece by a liberal hack. Hey, boomer liberals, go away. You're not welcome. Boomer liberals?
What is a boomer liberal?
There's got to be you could count them on one hand in Lewis County.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know how Sean feels about comments like this, but I absolutely love them. Yeah. Not on him, but I like when I write a column or something and I get underneath somebody's skin enough for them to post a comment online that will live forever.
You're also living rent-free in their head, too.
Right, absolutely.
There you go. Wow.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I just find it comical. I love how both sides, the liberals and the far-right extreme, go crazy with comments.
You can pretty much
I mean, this guy sounds like a dumbass to me, but that's okay.
A comment on John McCroskey's column this week where he talked about vaccinated immigrants. This comment says, I might add the measles are here thanks to Biden. When that spreads in the U.S., our young children will be in danger. You can't tell me in the 20 years we've been in Afghanistan, its administration didn't know about the health issues going on over there. Thanks, Biden, for measles. Luckily, there's a vaccine for that. I feel like that might not solve the problem.
That's fact check true, by the way.
This Facebook comment came from a COVID report from Thurston County. Someone asked, why don't we see the numbers from Lewis County? And this commenter said, talk to Chad Taylor, owner of the Chronicle. He withholds information he doesn't personally like. Chad, how do you respond?
I absolutely do that.
No, he doesn't.
I don't. My wife does. Corley is the one you want to talk to on that
I heard it was Franklin, actually.
Franklin.
He's in there scrubbing the internet for information he doesn't like.
No, you know what? I believe in the free-flowing ideas. I like both negative, positive comments. I like everybody to have their own point of view. In fact, I know who this person is. I talked to her, and I said if I didn't like, hearing different opinions, then I just delete your comment on Facebook. And she said that I can't do that. I said, no, yes, I can. And I choose not to because I want you to be able to have it on there. So you're welcome.
And also the Lewis County numbers are published in the same way as just as often as they come out. It's just Thurston County has more people and so publishes more often, I believe.
Absolutely. You're exactly right.
I believe also, does Thurston County, it's been a little bit since I've followed the COVID numbers on there, but I believe they publish a little more frequently too, right?
Yeah.
Don't they?
Yeah. I think that's the big part of it too.
It makes sense, yeah. And I remember, I think there was some kind of, there was some discussion about Lewis County when they stopped reporting their daily cases. Lewis County, a much smaller county than Thurston County, but, they're kind of, I can kind of see how this, reader might see, Thurston County numbers a little more.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And one last comment on the daycare protest situation. I really hope the Chronicle got both sides of the story and didn't just go off gossip, because that would be slanderous. And actually, sir, that would be libel. Slander is what you've heard on this podcast, which is spoken.
Nice job.
Wow. You are so smart.
He just has a dictionary.
He does.
Just the smartest. I've just seen Spider-Man too many times.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of News Dump. Roseanne, Chad, it was nice to have an Eric and a Taylor in here as normal, but
Boom.
a little different.
You did, yeah. I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that. I'm excited to be back on my pod number 3.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Great to have both of you here. Presumably, Franklin and Schwartz will be back next week. We'll
Absolutely.
see. In the meantime, we will have a new episode of Sports Dump up probably Thursday evening sometime, going through all of the week 3, week 4 results. I think week 4. I don't know what week we're on in
I
football.
think you're right. You're on week 4. Yeah.
Week 4
crushing
results,
it. Yeah.
and yes,
You're
your
doing
grid
really
picks
good.
are great. The people of Tenino are not happy about everybody picking Onalaska to beat them.
Get on that Tenino train.
Yeah.
I'm on it this week.
And we've got, again, Best of Lewis County tomorrow night. Drinks start at 5 o'clock at Dick's Brewing Company. 6 o'clock, the awards start. And check Thursday night on Facebook and YouTube for the first live candidate debate event.
It's going to be amazing.
All right. And with that, we're closing out News Dump. Follow us or check us out on Spotify, iTunes, get it on the website, whatever you want to do. Thank you for listening.